Have you ever noticed how a single sentence from someone can ruin your entire day? A careless line that hurts quietly, a sharp voice with no warmth, a message seen and left in silence. Suddenly, peace disappears. Yet the truth is simple and powerful. No one controls your emotions unless you give them permission. This is the story of a man who discovered that power within himself. And perhaps like him, you might discover it too. In a small village lived a man named Ayaan. Everyone knew him, not for kindness or wisdom, but for his fiery temper. His anger was like dry grass. A single spark could set it ablaze. If his wife mistakenly overcooked the food, he snapped. If a goat wandered into his garden, he exploded. If children laughed outside his home, he barked. Do you ever stop making noise? Ayaan believed life was unfair to him. He blamed everyone, neighbors, family, strangers, but never himself. His wife, Layla, tried many times to calm him. She would say gently, "Why do you let every small thing disturb your peace?" Ayaan would reply, "Because people don't value me. If they behave wrongly, why should I stay quiet?" What he didn't see was this. With every outburst, he was surrendering control of his own mind. One bright morning, a traveling sage arrived in the village. He carried no possessions, but walked with deep stillness. His face reflected quiet understanding, as if storms could not touch him. He settled beneath an ancient tree near the village well. People gathered. They whispered that even the most troubled souls found comfort near him. Layla said to Ayaan, "Go speak with him. Maybe he can help you find peace." Ayaan scoffed. What does a man who lives in silence know about reality? But later that day, fate intervened. A young boy accidentally toppled Ayaan's wooden tools while playing. Rage surged through him like fire. His voice echoed across the field, frightening the child into tears. That night, Ayaan sat alone. His hands trembled, not from anger now, but exhaustion. "Why does fury leave me so hollow?" he murmured. Sleep avoided him. Before sunrise, drawn by a strange urge, he walked to the old tree where the sage sat in meditation. "I am exhausted," Ayaan admitted. "My anger controls me." The sage opened his eyes softly. "When anger visits you," he asked, "how long does it stay?" "Sometimes hours, sometimes an entire day. And when it fades, I feel drained, broken." The sage nodded. Because anger punishes its host, not its target. He dipped his hand into a clear bowl of water. When calm, you see reflection. When shaken, clarity disappears. So too with the mind. Ayaan hesitated. "Should I remain silent when people insult me?" "Not silent," smiled the sage. "Just conscious. Choose response, not reaction. When mud is thrown, wisdom steps aside." The next day brought a lesson. The sage asked Ayaan to place a pot on the fire, fill it with water, and slowly drop sand into it. As the flames grew higher, the water began to tremble, then boil. Thick steam curled into the air, carrying heat that made Ayaan step back. The sage pointed gently and asked, "Would you touch this now?" Ayaan shook his head. "No, it would burn my skin." The sage nodded calmly. This is what happens when your emotions lose control. When anger rises, it does not harm others first. It burns you from the inside. He watched silently as the sand swirled in the boiling water, turning it cloudy and restless. Then, he removed the pot from the fire and poured the water into another bowl. Time passed. Slowly, the sand sank to the bottom, and the water became clear again.
Look closely, the sage said softly. When the fire stops, the storm settles. When reaction ends, peace returns. Stillness lives in patience. Ayaan stared into the clear water and felt something shift inside him. For the first time, he realized the truth. He had been creating his own chaos. His anger had been the fire, and his reactions the poison. Again and again, he had shattered his own peace without knowing it. In that quiet moment, Ayaan understood. Calm was always within reach. He only had to choose it. From that day, he trained his mind. A dishonest trader tried to cheat him. Once Ayaan would have shouted. Instead, he smiled and said, "I will spend my money elsewhere." He walked away lighter. When villagers mocked him for changing, calling him weak, he replied calmly, "If someone hands you fire, you don't grip it." Their laughter faded into silence. Time passed. Layla saw her husband transform. His voice softened. His eyes carried calm. His presence no longer felt like a storm, but like shade on a hot day. Ayaan returned to the sage and bowed. "I have learned the truth. The world didn't change. I did." The sage smiled. When you stop battling the waves, you learn how to float. Years later, Ayaan was known as the most peaceful man in the village. When others felt grief, confusion, or rage, they came to him. He would say, "Peace is not the absence of noise, but mastery over the self. You cannot command the storm, but you can guide your boat." When a child asked, "Don't people still try to make you angry?" he smiled and replied, "Only if I allow them, and I choose not to." You cannot silence the world. You cannot prevent harsh words, but you can choose who controls your inner sky. Anger is a door, reaction is the key, and calmness, that is power. So when life tries to pull you into chaos, remember Ayaan's lesson. Step aside. Do not catch what was never meant for you. Because true strength is not loudness. It is stillness that cannot be shaken. And when you master that stillness, you begin to live.